So if you want to motion, you'll say motion and then hit your motion button. Otherwise, a vote screen will come up and you'll click yes, no, abstain. And that's
Are we
it.
voting out loud and pushing it?
Yes.
Morning. Rick's in his last legislatively required certification session.
Okay, all right.
Upstairs in his office.
Yeah, oh, he's...
It's the statute reference one.
Yeah.
So, you know that he's just enthralled with that.
Yeah. Kind of like CLEs, right? Well, actually, I find some CLEs interesting.
Yeah.
I don't like doing it in person. I just watch it online. Occasionally, I will go with can go somewhere and write the paper off.
This is their first foray into Zoom, trying to do it over Zoom because of COVID. So he's upstairs in the statute reference class via Zoom in his office because it's the last one.
Oh, you got one? I got some. Did I bring him and put him into my construction?
And I've already had the last update, but anyway, I've been popping in.
I have a...
We should be done soon.
You don't have to do that? I'll have the band tomorrow. Yeah. I won't be here tomorrow, sorry, but can we...
General salary.
How are you?
Is your boss not here, or are you just warming up the space?
So he's
Good morning.
in his final certification class for OSU certification via Zoom. So he's up in his office, but the last one.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. The County Budget Board. Looks like all members are present. We have Mr. Sullivan here on behalf of Mr. Warren, who is in as I understand, a legislatively mandated training session. So this meeting was properly posted on June 17th, 2018.
2020.
It should be, okay, that's correct. It should be. I was like, wow, that's a long time ago. That's what it says.
I think we know.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
We're coming spring.
ahead of our time. So, okay, June 17th, 2020. And I'll ask Commissioner Moss, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We kind of elided over item 1, but I think it is moot since there is no member or chief deputy appearing by video. So item 2 is to approve the minutes, both for the regular meeting from May 21st and special meetings from May 26th and June 11th. Is there a motion? Motion to approve.
There is a very, very small error that needs to be fixed. On June 11th, the very, very last item should read that they motioned and seconded to adjourn. I believe it says motion to approve or something. It's a small error.
Accept.
Yeah.
Okay, would Mr. Hooten, would you amend your motion with the amendment? Is the second also amended? Second. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, approved as amended. In our consent agenda, get to the screen.
Give us a second.
Sure, no worries. Did you have something on the consent agenda?
I have one
Aye.
correction on the consent agenda. Item number 35, where it says, from 516 salary, benefits, operation, and capital, then it says to 514, it should say and 514 capital, and it should say to 512 operation.
Okay,
And the attachment.
okay,
And so the attachment
The attachment.
shows what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
okay. I do have just a question. The grant in question on this, is this a grant related to detention or law enforcement? Which grant is it?
The DEQ grant is the one that was 516.
And we were utilizing that for detention initially. That program kind of fell off. So we are putting those funds back where they came from, drug funds, and we'll reevaluate that later if we want to reinstitute it under law enforcement.
Okay, and then it was on here. Item 14 also has a grant fund. Just the same question. Is that
It's Homeland Security, and that's always been one.
right? And then the item 13, where it's from the Special Revenue Fund detention for the miscellaneous receipts and all of those, all related to detention.
Yeah.
And then same with item 11.
It's a test detention at the top.
Yeah, so detention 1160, and this is to appropriate miscellaneous receipts. And,
Yes.
And those are all related to the jail?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any further questions?
Item 17, the number listed, I believe,
Oh, yeah.
it should read $23,165.50.
Unless we've suddenly added a tens place.
Right,
Into,
right.
Yeah. Can somebody confirm? Yes. Is that okay?
I wasn't going to speak on that issue. I have a different one.
Okay.
I think on the attachment on 17, the number that I got was from the attachment, which is why I wanted to take out that extra 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so the correct amount then should be $23,165.50?
Correct.
Okay. All right, we'll note that one as well. Ms. Etherington, did you have another item on consent agenda?
Well, I don't have an item, but the proposed changes to item 35 make substantive changes to the agenda item that won't allow the board to act on it.
Okay. But that's not a problem with the Scrivener's error on item 17, is that correct?
Let me look at this.
It just, there's an extra digit in there.
Was the digit in the attachment, or is it just on the?
Yes.
The attachment is fine. It's just a scrivener's
Yeah.
error.
Yeah, it's an obvious Scrivener's error. You can't have a number like that.
Yeah.
Right, what is the correct number on number 17?
$23,165.50. Right now, it says $23,001,365, and yeah, so it's obviously,
That was a close call, honestly. If you're comfortable going forward, I'll say it's okay.
yeah.
Council, let's go back to 35. What did you just tell us on 35?
That the changes, the amended language is substantively changes the agenda language that would not allow us to go forward because it wouldn't give the public notice as to what was actually going to be discussed or proposed to take place.
So you recommend we strike it?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a question though. Does this have to be done, Melissa? Does this have to be done, or Sheriff, this fiscal year? I'm sorry, it what?
Yeah, the response was it could be done at the July 1 meeting. So, well, then Chair would entertain a motion to pass the consent agenda subject to striking item 35 from it and amending the, oh, I'm sorry, we have another one. This
Yeah, we have a-
Speak of the question.
Yes, please.
On all of these items, there is a little paperclip over on the side, which would help us determine exactly what the form that was filed with the county says. And if the correct forms were filed with those dumb numbers, and those are part of this packet, would that make any difference in being able to approve it? Because if we, obviously there was the run number that was too many digits, but if it was the original document, did that have that error in it?
No.
So on this other resolution, if it was part of the packet which someone could see was accurate, why wouldn't we be able to approve that?
Under the Open Meetings Act, legal standard requires that the agenda item have sufficient information to put a reasonable person on notice of what is prepared to be discussed
or action proposed to be taken. The sufficiency is assessed by the language on the agenda itself, not attachment. So although the attachment might have been correct, it's because the agenda item itself does not meet that legal standard.
I'd make a motion to approve all of them as amended and striking number 35.
I do have one last correction on item 4. Cody, can you come up and explain this? It's just a 1 penny change that needs to be made.
Yeah, the agenda item appears to be correct. I just want to make a note on the attachment. The amount received is $973,791.99, and then the allocations at the bottom add to $973,791.98, which is a penny off. And after looking at the appropriations and the money coming in, it appears that District 2 needs that extra penny.
So, well,
Do we all pitch in?
yeah, I think I think the agenda item is accurate.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you for that notation. Okay, so we have.
He didn't even drop the mic.
We have a motion to approve other than item 35, and was your motion also including correcting the number on item 17 to $22,165.50?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, consent agenda is adopted. Okay, we have some recurring agenda items. So item 36, Mr. Lambert.
Danny, should we be on the monthly report PDF or PPT?
The second one, the attachment is the PowerPoint, that'll be on the PP stands for PowerPoint.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The very first slide is our general fund budget at the end of May. Just wanted to point out we have $8.4 million in reserve, which is good. We had projected when we built the budget that we would lapse about $8,357,000. A little extra money that we would have that will go toward fund balance and roll over into the new year. There is one item on the agenda, I think it's the last item, requesting a transfer of $99,000 reserve, so that dollar amount would lower if you guys approve that. All right, a couple slides over general fund, comparing this year to last at the end of May. Total revenue collected is 103.1% of what we budget for the year. Typical for this time of year. Last year we had collected 102%. We ended the month with a cash balance of a little over $30 million, compared to last year where the cash balance was at $24 million. Next slide is still general fund, comparing revenue and expenditures to last year through May. We have collected $4.4 million more in revenue than we did this time last year. The biggest chunk of that is intergovernmental revenue and property tax. Property tax is up $1.8 million. We actually budgeted $3.3 million more, so we'll jump up there next month. And then the $2.6 million in the intergovernmental revenue, it's because at this time last year we had not received the detention reimbursement for juvenile yet, so you'll see that also catch up next month. Expenditures to date, we've spent about 6.4% more than we did a year ago, about $4.5 million, and we had budgeted an increase of $2.2 million. The very next slide is Employee Benefits Fund. Employee Benefits is looking really good. Ended the month with a cash balance of $1,335,000. The month of May was the lowest medical claims month that we had all year, so that's good. We had estimated that we would end the year with a cash balance a little over $1 million, so we're a little bit ahead of what we had estimated, which is good news because all that rolls into the fund going into next year.
Is this what you're mandated to say seed corn?
I skipped that part. But I will go back to that. As far as general fund. In respect to Joe Barnes, this is seed corn. Yes. And one thing I forgot to mention, back on general fund, we did not budget an amount for resale and the Treasurer's Office updated the Board of County Commissioners yesterday that the general fund will be receiving $1,463,000 that will get deposited this month into general fund, which will also add to that seed corn going into next year. The slide I have up there now is comparing our medical and prescription claims through the week of June the 10th. We have a net paid claims increase of 1.6%, which is really good because the fiscal year 18-19 is the gauge that we use to budget for this year. So it's been a really good claims year. And then the last slide is capital projects. I just want to point this out because there is an item on the agenda to move some money out of the unallocated funds. There's $61,714. Item number 40 is requesting moving $40,000 out of this up to the Annex 6-4 relocation item, which is further up on that sheet.
Your comment about we've spent, what was it, 6% more this,
The general fund.
correct, than last year? Do you know, can you say what that is? Was that for our funding to the trust, or do you know what that was for?
It's broken down. It's mainly salary and benefits. About
Okay.
$2.6 million is salary.
Okay.
About 1.7 is benefits. If you recall, we budgeted on the employer side of the premiums. We budgeted the full amount, so we expected benefits to really jump up there, so we didn't have to transfer as much.
Okay.
So the salary, we gave that 3% COLA last year, and that's the benefit increase from the premiums.
Okay.
Okay, any questions? Further questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to receive?
Motion to receive.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, item 37, Mr. Workelson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just to follow up on what Danny said, I have the numbers through the end of this fiscal year, and this year's kind of been up and down this year because we've had coronavirus and other things, but we've really avoided large claims related to that. We've had a lot of big cases going on this year, but we're ending, I've got year-end numbers now, and we're coming in about $200,000 under last year, which is really well. Plus, we received this month a check for about $435,000 in prescription rebates to add to that. So we're coming in under last fiscal year. If we look back 4 fiscal years, we've remained about the same cost. We're considered a high-risk health plan because we cover the young, we cover the old, we cover retirees. Normal trend for our plan should be about 12% a year. If you look back about 4 years, that'd be 48%. Our cost should be 48% above where we were 4 years ago. We're still level. The plan is doing tremendously well. So I just want to share that. And again, our claims at the end, through next week, they're going to be paid. We're down about $225,000. So everything's good.
Okay. To what extent do you suspect that part of that may be, many optional medical procedures were ordered postponed during the early stage of COVID because they were wanting to keep hospital space free and all that? Do you expect there to be any kind of deferred elective surgeries and things like that?
Not many, because we see those pre-certified every month and every week, and those are scheduled out. So we see them maybe a month and ahead. We've been watching those. We don't see a big impact from that. What we do see maybe at the first of next fiscal year is at the end of this fiscal year, we try to rush and get everything paid that's been pending for maybe accident details or coordination of benefits information. So we're getting that information and trying to get those pending claims paid by the end of this fiscal year. Some of those might be paid the first of next fiscal year. That's where I see a big impact, maybe $100,000 extra.
Okay. All right, further questions? Motion to receive. Back to you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkerson.
Aye.
Okay, item 38, BET, Mr. Compton.
Good morning.
Morning.
There are no changes to the watch list, no additions or subtractions this month. We do have a couple of recommendations on your agenda, items number 55 and 56. And one note that I would like to make is if you could plan, we the way we've looked at our CARES reimbursement is DET's meeting on Tuesdays. So we would like budget board to plan on meeting every Thursday for a while so that our recommendations that come out on Tuesday can come to you on Thursday and then can be on BOCC the following Wednesday. So if that's something that you guys would be willing to do, we would appreciate that. That's all I got as far as an update until items 55 and 56, and there's some discussion that needs to be had there.
Motion approved. Second.
All fair say aye.
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 Thank you, Cody.
Okay, item 39. Okay, these are departmental items. Sponsored by Mr. Hoop.
Yes, please, as the chair, I wanted to explain a little bit. When we first entered this COVID-19 time, it was within literally hours that Aaron Etherington was in my office, and we were figuring out how to legally post the agenda properly, how we were going to go forward with WebEx meeting. Our IT department is wonderful. Also, my IT department did an extraordinary job, including Kathy and Walter and Kit. And so we really owe them a lot of kudos for keeping us going, and we were the first agency out there moving. So I'd like to read this resolution. Whereas the COVID-19 outbreak has required social distancing to protect Oklahoma County employees and their families from harm, and whereas the Oklahoma County Clerk's Office took immediate action by sending employees home and setting them up on laptops to allow them to work from home, and whereas the County Clerk's Office was the first Oklahoma government agency to move all public meetings to WebEx, and whereas Aaron Etherington with the District Attorney's Office was instrumental in helping us navigate legally and successfully to begin our WebEx meeting within days rather than weeks. Therefore, be it resolved, the Budget Board of Oklahoma County recognized the outstanding achievements of the Oklahoma County Clerk's IT staff, Walter A., Kit Holmby, Kathy Porter, and Aaron Etherington in the District Attorney's Office.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Well done. Okay, great stuff.
It doesn't help though, the kitchen up there, Aaron doesn't help on any issues though, it's so long.
It actually was all three.
All good. Item 40, Ms. Monroe.
Right.
This item calls for a transfer of $40,000 to address the rust and degradation of the roof deck on the 6th floor that's been discovered once the roof layer on top was peeled back and the asbestos beneath was abated. The steel roof decking showed signs of rust and degradation in various areas. This addresses that.
Okay, other questions?
This was something that was not foreseen when the original bid was proposed or accepted.
It could not have been foreseen.
I guess that's the word I'm looking for. It could not have been. Okay.
Motion to approve. Second. All fair say aye.
Aye. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Ms. Monroe. Okay, item 41 is, in my district, we had some leftover funds, and we are in need of purchasing an extra brush hog. We'll move the item, and if approved, constituents in the rural parts of my district will appreciate it for the mowing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, item 42, Ms. Monroe. I think he left, but this is forgot to have the other item on there. Oh, he's there. Anyway, transfer general fund appropriation for facilities for $25,000 from benefits to capital needed to get the windows washed on the courthouse six building. We got to approve in a second. Is there any discussion?
Well,
we got a question.
Whoa.
We do have a question.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can we also wash the windows in the ICB? I understand that's a PBA cost, but I just want to put it out there that I would love to have our windows washed as well.
yes, we can, but I believe we should wait until there's some direction as to what we're going to do with the building exterior.
Right.
I hate to
Okay.
wash windows that we're simply going to replace.
Okay,
Very good.
thank you.
All
They're
fair
not to step out of the room again, and it's gonna cost you $25,000 out of your tax salary.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Getting Keith out of the room? Thank you, Mr. McGraw. Motion carries. Okay, item 43, Ms. Overstreet.
In deference to Jamie, we have to do that.
Thank you. Good morning. Actually, I have 4 agenda items, and they're all related to number 43. We are moving money from both in the detention and the Bureau budget that we have left over, partially because our utilities are a little lower. We were closed for several weeks, and so we've saved some money in places that we hadn't anticipated, and we want to put it into building improvements and repairs. And I've listed all of the major items that we plan to do. We need to install the fire safe diesel valves. We're going to replace some carpet, do some sensor flush valves in our public restrooms, things like that.
Jamie, I understand that items number 44, 45, and 54 are the 3 that make up the ones where you're trying to split that money up, right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to propose then that we address 54 at the same time we're addressing.
We'll just move it up on the agenda.
Yeah.
So, okay, very good. So on item 43, is there a motion?
Motion to
Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Item 44, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 45, is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And item 54, is there a motion?
Motion. Second. Yeah.
Get ahead of the machine.
We can all speak quicker than she can, right?
Okay, on 54, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I don't think it's the typing speed, I think it's the program, so. Okay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Overstreet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 46, Mr. Hooten. $3,000 from.
Yeah, this is, to transfer to finish the year.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 47 is from the election board. I don't know if there is anybody from the election board, but it's general fund transfer from the general fund, county election board 250 for $31,000 from benefits and salary to, from benefits and travel to salary and operations necessary to pay the expenses of the upcoming primary election.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 48, Sheriff Taylor.
Melissa.
This transfer is requested, and the amount is if everybody in the detention center were to cash out all of their leave. We don't anticipate that would happen, but want to be covered for it. Of course, anything that is not paid out, classes, goes back into the general fund.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 49, Sheriff.
I think we have Major Jim Anderson here to talk about this item.
So we are, our intentions with the transfer that we're asking for today are to update some intermediate force options for our deputies. The largest of which being our taser. We've been in the taser business. We've been issuing them since about 2005 on a limited basis. That's based on the funding, availability, and all that. What we've determined was, and since 2005, taser has become just the gold standard of intermediate force options. It's the thing we have between hands and guns, short of a stick. So with everything going on, there's nationwide, I would say that Oklahoma City is at, I believe, 95% issuance. Everybody gets them more. It's become a standard tool. And it's something that I think we need to add to our inventory. We need 100%, all of our deputies that are assigned to enforcement duties, I think, should be carrying a taser. It gives them a better option. We've had last year, I think late last year or mid last year, we had two of our judicial services guys out executed an eviction. They got involved in a use of force with the guy, and I think the county caught a shoulder and I believe an ankle, if I remember the outcome of that correctly. So if they would have had a different force option, I can't say that it for sure that it would have gone a different way, but at least gives them tools to deal with something in a more humane manner than punches and fists and sticks and all that. So, question is, our options without taser are sticks. Sticks are rough. I promise you, nobody in this room wants to see one of our deputies swinging a stick to take a violent arrestee into custody. I've been tased, I've been hit with a stick, and all these things, and I'll guarantee you that I'll take.
What did you violate?
Training. Yeah, everybody carries a taser gets tased, so they can testify that they know what the effects are. The taser, the training program that we use is the Tasers program. It's been tested. There's hundreds of medical studies. It's just by far the most widely used intermediate force weapon in American law enforcement today. We can provide that. I'm not sure how far down in the weeds we want to get here. The other thing that we want to utilize these funds for is a long-range acoustic device, which is basically a sound system that we can communicate with a large crowd from distance. The issues we had 2 weekends ago out in front of the jail when we had approximately 2,000 people or so, the PAs on our vehicles absolutely were not getting it. We couldn't hear what was coming out of them. The crowd was way too loud. We couldn't communicate. It was a problem. We couldn't communicate with them as they were coming up the road to help kind of direct them. There's things, and once that crowd got to a certain point where it was deemed that there was crimes being committed, and at that point we're legally justified to start dispersing that crowd, we can use this tool also to make them pretty much make everybody out there pretty uncomfortable. You can make it loud enough to where you don't want to stick around.
Is this a portable system that you're talking about?
Portable, it's somewhat portable. It would have some hard mounting points in a couple different vehicles. We can put it on a tripod. We can use it out in the field. It's got its own battery source. It's very, very useful. I know that OHP, Oklahoma City, a couple other large municipalities in the state have already contacted the same vendor to go the same route. Because everybody seems to be under the thinking that once the cork has been let out of the bottle in our city, that we've never seen this type of unrest, and it's going to be easier for our population to come back and come back to that type of protest. And most of the protests that we dealt with were absolutely peaceful, but there's always a few bad actors in the crowd that, depending on how strong those personalities are, one or two bad actors can drive a crowd to do some things they shouldn't be doing as well.
Motion approved. Second.
Do you know how many tasers you all currently have in your inventory?
I can tell you right now, of the tasers that we still have in our current inventory that are supported by taser, meaning that they haven't timed out. These are electronic devices. They have time, like a computer. We have about 30, I believe, right just under 40.
Okay.
That have been purchased in the past couple of years.
And after a taser is used, is there any sort of, do you have to log why it was used, or is there any sort of?
If it's used, the taser is pulled back in, we download it, we have plug it in, it tells you exactly how many times the taser trigger was pulled, how many cycles were delivered, whether any, basically, it captures all that data, and we download that into the arrest report, and we can have all that's trackable on the versions that we have now. These versions are all going away. This version is about 16 years old. It's no longer supported by Taser. This amount of money is going to put everybody on the same sheet of paper. They're all going to look the same. The training's going to be the same. The equipment's the same. Allow us to get rid of some old, outdated stuff.
And if an officer is issued a taser, how often do they have to go through training?
The original, the initial training, better word, is 8 hours, and they'll get yearly in-service training. Part of their use force every year.
How many more tasers are being purchased under this?
110, I believe.
So you have 30 and you're purchasing 110.
Pretty sure that's enough for now.
Okay, those are reserved for certified law enforcement officers.
This includes full training, and the sound system can be used in numerous areas, clearing neighborhoods when you've got flooding, fire, school lockdowns, barricaded suspect. It gives the ability to clear the area in a professional way.
Does any, you mentioned other jurisdictions had contact with this vendor. Does any other jurisdiction in Oklahoma have one of these?
Not that I'm aware of. I know Canadian counties ordered 2. OHP's in the process of trying to get some things ordered. Not sure what their budget's going to look like though.
These funds are all within your current budget, are they not, Sheriff?
Yes.
And remind me how many, now that you all are strictly moving to law enforcement, how many officers, police certified officers, will you all be working with?
No. I can't recall exactly what that number is.
Probably about 160, but I don't know exactly off the top of my head.
Okay.
Okay. Number.
Okay.
Well, didn't you all say like last year that you had 110 employees outside the jail?
Last
year. Aside from this conversation, I would like to know, once July 1st hits and you guys know exactly how many people you have, I think it'd be good to know exactly how many, for our sake, how many law enforcement officers you'll have.
Payroll will be able to tell you that.
Yeah.
It's over. Any further questions? Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no?
No.
No. Item 50.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Stein.
Yes, we want to purchase the front end of our mailing, and this is what this is all about for our office, and then urge your approval. Make a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 51, Commissioner Lippman.
Yes, this is to finish out our last little bit of our travel account. Obviously, no one on our team has traveled since, I think, February, but we needed to reimburse back from a trip in February. So that's all this is. If no one has any questions, I'll move approval.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, item 52 is from IT. Dane, that's pretty self-explanatory, but go ahead. Okay, so firewalls for off-site locations.
Right.
And of course, this proved to be, critical when COVID hit. So again, kudos to you all for that. So
I'll motion to approve.
second. Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 53, Mr. Billingsley, Court Services.
We just need to replace some computers and add some monitors to help with the GPS monitoring so they can have a couple screens and just make it easier for them to do their daily job.
Motion of approval.
We got a motion and here a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, you took care of 54, so item 55, Mr. Compton.
Good morning again. There's let's see here. There's 4 attachments for you guys related to this item. The bottom attachment is a spreadsheet. The dollar amount that's listed in your agenda item, the $16,250.59, is $114 less than what everything adds up to on the spreadsheet. And what it appears is that item number 40, which is for $114, was, while it's on the spreadsheet, the calculation that came down through missed that, is my best guess. So I guess what I'm saying is item number 40, what my recommendation would be is we pull it and it comes back to you at your next meeting, because that was a recommendation from us to include it. But if you include it today, your dollar amount in your agenda is going to be too short. It's going to be $114 short. So my recommendation is that we would bring 40 back to you next time. Also, if you look at your attachments, they're full packets for all of the recommendations. It's a front application page, followed by a invoice, and then a copy of the check that paid that invoice. There were a few of them that we requested a little more specific information on the purpose, so that when we get into the audit portion of this phase, that we'll be able to show that it was related to COVID. That would be your front sheet items. There were several of those items that the change was not made on the, it was items 24, 25, 27, 29 through 39, and 41 have updated expense purposes listed on there. So what I would like to do, since this group, the packet will then go to BOCC for recommendation, I would like to provide those items that I just mentioned, provide the updated application page, the front page to the clerk's office, and you guys receive those. That way, when they send it to BOCC, they can change out that front page so it has the accurate, updated purpose information. Does that make sense? No. Okay, so are you guys looking at any of the attachments?
Yes.
I'm looking at the last one.
Okay, if you could pull up item number 24.
On which PDF?
Oh, I'm sorry, that would be,
Item number 24 is on the consent agenda.
COVID reimbursements.
fund number 1130. It should be numbered out to the left.
It is. Page 4, you say?
Treasurer Resale Property Fund 1130.
Yes. The dollar amount is 740520.
Yes, sir.
You guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Which one are we on now?
The attachment, Treasurer's Resale Property Fund 1130, your second attachment.
Second attachment.
Commissioner Bloomer, can you read the expense purpose?
Laptops and docking stations for employees.
Yes. That has been updated in the InfoZone system, and that's where I printed these out. So just to give you an, an example, the updated sheet for that one says laptops and docking stations for employees to work remotely due to COVID-19. So the numbers that I mentioned a second ago will change that page that you're looking at just with a purpose that more solidifies that it was related to COVID-19. So that's what these documents are. So if you receive these, when the clerk's office sends the attachments to BOCC for approval next week, they can insert this instead of the page that you just mentioned.
So it doesn't, no amounts change, just adding more description.
Correct.
For CARES money purposes.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Any further questions? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Thank you, BET, for making sure all of this is in here and we're tracking our spending for CARES. So thank you guys.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we have a guest presenter, and since this is going on, do you care if we hear item 63 so that she can move on with?
I would be happy to do that. So,
Ms. Harden is here.
okay, item 63. Ms. Harden, you're invited to come up and present. And thank you for the suggestion, Commissioner.
Just a brief introduction. Ms. Harden represents Prepaid Legal. She's worked for the county for years. Our employees have their products. They pay for them out of their paycheck. This is a way discounted program that the county, as proposed, will pay for our employees. I'll let her explain the product.
Well, thank you. This is an identity theft product, and what John's asked me to do was to ask about protecting all of the employees and then giving them the ability to include their families. What our product does is actually monitor about everything: name, social security, internet, dark web, all of the email addresses. They can even protect their children against that sort of thing, cyber hunting. And then we do a complete restoration at no charge to the person and no time to the person. We have certified fraud investigators that work with us. We give them a consultation when they get. And then we have an app that everyone has the ability to have. They don't have to have the app, but it gives you your credit score every day. If this comes up in red, there's been some violation. Last week I had 6 of these. Somebody got into an email account and I had to go back to my provider. I talked to them and asked them what to do. And it was I had a website that I had for a long time ago when security wasn't an issue. I had to go back and put security on that site so that it would be protected. So this is what we do. And it allows people to put in 10 bank accounts, email addresses, everything that they want monitored, and it's done every single day. And then our big plus is the restoration. We restore it back to where it was. We do whatever it takes for as long as it takes. And there were questions on Tuesday about we have $1 million service guarantee. So if everyone comes on July 1, which is when we're looking at, they would be covered if there was an issue because of this breach and everything that's happened with COVID-19 and all of the problems with people filing for false unemployment information. We would go back and do the restoration. The $1 million wouldn't kick in, and we would do the pre-existing condition on getting people restored and getting them up to date. As far as the $1 million, that would start on the July 1. So if someone's 401k was tapped into, and let's say there was $50,000 gone, we wouldn't actually cover that unless it happened after the July 1 date. We would do the restoration, the pre-existing for that, if that makes sense. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Just so y'all know that I was the first one, I think, that ended up getting an unemployment check issued to somebody in Tulsa at a PO box, and we tried to stop it, and it was very difficult to do, and now we had over, 300?
Yeah.
And so we're all having issues with this, and it is, personally, it's a problem because if you don't have all of your accounts, mine were covered by LifeLock, but if you don't have all of them on LifeLock, it gets to be a really laborious, bad situation that you end up spending money in lawyers, which just my personal.
Are you all an Oklahoma-based company?
Yes, we are. We're actually based in Ada, Oklahoma, and we were Prepaid Legal. Mr. Stone Cypher started this, and then it's been purchased, and we're involved with Stone Capital. Our headquarters are still in Ada, but we are now a $2 billion business, and we have our identity theft has just been awarded the highest award for restoration that you can get. So it's been a very
It's a wonderful thing for Oklahoma. Yeah.
And again, the name is Legal Shield. I noticed that on the handout, ID Shield, one and the same.
Yes. ID Shield is produced by Legal Shield.
Okay. And this would be effective July 1?
Yes.
I think it's a great program. Again, I don't know what the number is now, but there has been an incredible number of claims on unemployment.
I think I heard Tuesday 700.
Are we up to 700? And they're going fast.
Yeah.
John?
Sure. Oh,
John, will employees have to opt into this, or does it just cover everyone?
That's a good question for Lynn. Traditionally, a program like this, we would provide the information to Legal Shield, and they would enroll. And this is something for Lynn. If an employee wanted to opt out, could they opt out of this service?
Sure. I mean, that's, yeah.
Well, so if you want to opt out, you have to notify, and otherwise you're going to be in it, which, I mean, I like that approach, but is that the approach we're taking?
Yes, and we will work with John and that group we would tell John what information we need.
Okay.
And then he can send an email to all the employees, let them know. And then we'll also alert them how to get on the app and fill out that information. If they don't want the app, that's fine. They can still do it on a website.
So Chairman, quick, is a passive opt-in or not?
From what I'm hearing is we would roll it out, give everybody the opportunity to enroll, and if they want to decline, we would not enroll them in the product.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So everybody's enrolled unless they decline.
And they would have to decline.
So who are the parties to the agreement with Legal Shield? Who owns the information? We're talking about people's account information and all of that stuff. If they take the steps to put it in, clearly.
Yeah.
But that's my question is who's a party to the agreement? Who ends the agreement? Who has access to the information that's in there?
From my understanding, of course, the county is paying for the services. If an employee wants to enroll their accounts, then that's between them and Legal Shield. We have no access to those accounts.
Okay.
And Legal Shield is paid to protect our information, and they're not going to sell it.
Right.
Sure,
That's not the,
And we wouldn't be able to, on the benefit side, to see anyone's information besides their name.
and then a really simple question, is this extended to our spouses as well?
Yeah.
Dependents or just
There is.
employees?
Our coverage is, if they chose to upgrade to a family plan, that would be voluntary. And that's for 2 adults and up to 10 children to the age of 18. You cannot by law monitor their information at 18 or over, but we do the restoration for your children up to the age of 26. So my son, who went to Florida State University, he was covered for his restoration to the age of 26.
So, in regards to your question, it's really the employees opting in. They are letting you all protect. I'm letting you protect my information. The county is not liable if any information goes haywire. It's really on the employee who's opting into the program.
From my understanding, correct. You're going to, as an employee, you would enroll your information once on the app. You would enroll, you would enter all your information. County's not going to have any of that information.
Okay.
That's all separate.
Okay.
When we say protect my information, what you're really going to do is you're going to give me an alert that somebody's messing with my information.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
And whatever you put in that you want monitored, Social Security, medical, all of that is monitored daily by us. So you're going to have updates daily, and if you don't have the app and you haven't seen it on your app, we send you emails and to get to alert.
It also tells you where it originated from, which is a really important part of some of the aspects. I know a lot of it right now is coming out of Nigeria, and there's different places in the world. My stuff was on the dark web in Russia, where it came out, and we don't know how that happened. But when it happens, they actually tell you what's going on and tell you what is happening
and then take steps to correct it. If it's coming out of Nigeria, I'm kind of concerned, that's where I got all my money. I fell for that a couple of years ago.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve this. I'll second it. We have motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilkerson.
Yes, that's a great program.
Okay, 64, also Mr. Wilkerson.
This is a standard renewal with Premise Health Clinics. No changes to this agreement.
Yeah, we need to go back.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, what number? Well, may I suggest we go ahead and, unless there's something, I mean, we did skip a few.
To approve 64.
Okay, 64. See right here. All right, I think we have a motion for a second. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll have you back in just a moment, Mr. Wilkerson.
So we're on 55 or 56?
56, I think.
Okay.
I believe so. Mr. Compton.
Did we took action on 55?
I believe we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the first thing I would suggest on item number 56 is similar to the discussion a minute ago on the updated page. There were several updates that were made. Most of them were in your attachment. There was one item, and it's item number 58 on your spreadsheet that has a change, and they added thus helping to prevent exposure to COVID-19. I would like you guys to receive this document so they can replace the old
Motion by page.
Can you clarify, there's 5 PDF attachments, which attachment are you wanting that to be added to?
That was 1150. I don't,
Just
the lien fee, it's the lien.
Court clerk lien fee, okay.
on the item general fund 1001, we also need to correct that 22,000 comma. There's a period there after that for our records.
It's correct on the agenda item itself.
No, I don't think so.
There's a period where it should be a comma.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Well, okay, so we had a motion to receive the document. There's a second. All those in favor say aye.
Okay, aye.
Now, on the agenda item, as Mr. Stein pointed out, there is a period where there should be a comma. So it's 22,943.34 is the correct amount for General Fund 1001 in the agenda item.
And also, I'd like to correct, in project fund 1400-350, and the total amount is 93,081.86.
If you could, before you take action on that, I've got a couple of things I want to discuss.
Okay.
First of all, in general fund, we have several items that were recommended from the juvenile department, but those were not attached to your agenda. So while the dollar amount is included in there for ease of transparency and tracking down the road, we're going to have another meeting next week. Hopefully, I would recommend that we pull those juveniles. That way they're able to be attached to your agenda for clarity. They were asked to make some changes to the descriptions, and they did that. So all of their stuff is ready to go. It's just not attached. Okay. So if those are removed out, that would move general fund to $21,078.59. The amount on your agenda also includes the court clerk revolving fund of $25,808.57. That has not been a recommendation from BET yet. My understanding is that Ms. Lauren is asking the DA for an opinion on those items. So BET's recommendation does not include that $25,000. The lien fee fund 60783 is correct. The records preservation fund number 54 was not attached. So similar to the juvenile items, I would recommend that one be pulled out and brought back at the next meeting so it can be attached. That was $175.87. You take that out, That changes the record preservation reimbursement to $43,546.25. Based on those numbers that I just gave you, that would change the total reimbursement amount to $65,232.67.
Aaron, based on these updates Cody has made, is this agenda item still fine? Okay.
So if we're going to have this in the form of a motion, we're going to need to state the various corrections that have been made to this and go ahead and state that and then have the motion based on that. Let's go ahead and state them all so we're not kind of floating around on that. So Mr. Compton, if you would not mind to state what those are, and then I think it would be appropriate if somebody wishes to make a motion based on what you have just said.
Okay. I'll just go to the agenda language and change the numbers as appropriate. Okay. So it would be to approve reimbursement expenses from Special Projects Fund 1400-350 in the total amount of $65,232.65 to the following funds. General Fund 1001, $21,078.59. Court Clerk Revolving Fund would be removed. Court Clerk Lien Fee Fund 1150, 607.83. I'm sorry, County Clerk. County Clerk.
No, wait a minute. Slow down just a little bit. I'm actually trying to write these down and you really get me confused again. All right, I got the general fund and I got that the court clerk is removed.
Correct.
All right, so now the next one is the county clerk lien fund.
And the number listed there is correct, the 607.93, so no change.
607.83.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So, okay, what is it?
607.83.
Okay.
And then the County Clerk Records Preservation Fund 1152 would be $43,546.25.
I will make the motion as amended.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Compton.
Thank you, Cody.
Appreciate your work.
Okay, item 57, Sheriff.
57 and 58 is really related. It's to cover the additional sheriffs at the county complex and in reference to COVID-19. And I might add, they've done an excellent job along the way.
Agreed. Is there a motion?
I have a question. I have no issue with, I think you should get this reimbursement, but are we, for all CARES Act spending, are we trying to make sure that things go through BET first, or is that not?
I think probably this is probably a catch-up item from before BET had the entire process set up. And do we now have a direct process set up, Cody, where we can go, where if I need masks, can encumber that money, or is that still kind of in process?
They've $500,000 that David Barnes put in the mask.
Well, okay.
Yeah, applications for individual departments for future projects or future expenses is not finalized yet. Mr. Weaver in the IT department is working, well, actually has completed the application. Him and I are going through to make sure that as many of the bugs are worked out as possible. I would anticipate on Tuesday when BET meets again that I'll have IT make a presentation, and if everything looks good, that could be approved at that point.
So currently, the only way to access the money is through spending your own money and asking to be reimbursed?
That is with the exception of facilities and emergency management. That is a correct statement.
Okay.
Hey, Sheriff, are these expenses you've actually already incurred?
Yes, I believe so, Melissa.
I just want to make sure.
First of all, it's not a reimbursement. And no, we haven't incurred them yet because the payroll cycle hasn't finished. So we were asked to estimate what we thought that would be, working with the clerk's office and payroll so that those funds could be transferred into the appropriate account. So when payroll is finished, that can be processed.
Okay, so again, you have not incurred any yet against this.
Correct.
What you're wanting to do is set up to have the money available. Okay?
It's really involves a timing issue with payroll. In order for this to get approved, the money to be transferred, and then it goes before Board of County Commissioners next Wednesday, which is the last meeting of the month, to be able to approve payroll. We had to put this on here today. It didn't get on BET just because of the timing issue. So ultimately, this board will decide is this payroll, can we pay this directly out of Fund 1400 so it can go to the OCC next week to approve actual payroll?
Okay.
And just to clarify that, you know, 57 and 58, is it transferring from one to that, and then, so it's not doubling the 54,000, is that correct?
This first item is for you to approve the expenditure. The next item is to actually
Transfer the funds.
put the money within those accounts so we can process it.
Motion to approve. Second. For more discussion.
Mr. Sullivan.
I appreciate the motion. Now, let's get this, I want to understand before I vote on it all, okay? So the money has not been spent yet. And the reason it did not go before the BET is a timing issue, and that it needs to be done now. And so the BET did not get a chance to vet it. I understand that. I will support that. But I think it is so critically important that we get that, where's Cody, we get that process set up. The time's going to come when we're going to go back and they say, well, why didn't you do this? Well, I thought you, somebody's going to come back after us for millions of dollars if we don't get all of our Sierra in one sock.
Or what in one sock?
Our Sierra. You can put your own S.
Sierra's for radio code. Yeah. Military radio code. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm not sure about Sierra Mist, but, so my question would be, and we were more than willing, because it was my boss who sat up here and said, you always ask your attorney. And so we're more than willing to go back and clarify the thing on the revolving fund. Has this process, the fact that we're moving the money beforehand and making it available and all of that, has this been reviewed by the DA and signed off on? I'm not asking for a DA opinion, Aaron. I wouldn't do that to you on the spot. I'm just asking if it has been reviewed.
No, hasn't been submitted.
Okay.
The only other question I would have is, so if this is expenses that have not yet been incurred and it's necessary to get these funds available, and your guys have been doing a fantastic job here at the courthouse, by the way, so I'm happy to do that. Are we really anticipating expending $54,000 more between now and the end of the fiscal year?
Again, it's an estimate. And we were asked to estimate high, just so that it would be covered. We wouldn't have to ask another transfer. We don't anticipate it being at
that high. Okay.
So this is for
salaries and benefits. So salaries plus FICA.
Sure.
Okay. And I apologize if this has already been discussed, but this is for covering deputy salary and benefits from now through the end of the fiscal year. They've already worked these hours. They've already worked these hours.
Through the end of the payroll.
Okay. 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 So just for clarity's sake, we're voting on this today because of timing issue. It's a payroll issue. It's the end of the year. But for any other typical CARES expenditure, we're going to follow the process of going through BET and then going through budget board and all of that. Okay. Okay.
Or at least this doesn't preclude us from doing it, right?
Correct.
Correct. To the Colonel's point a minute ago, we're working on a process for non-reimbursement items. While that application process isn't finalized yet, we have not said, don't bring anything to us. So if there is something that a project or something that needs to be done ahead of that application being approved and initiated and everything, if there's something that needs to come to BET, we're more than willing to discuss that and look at that on a case-by-case basis. We're just hoping to have a process down that everything goes through, but there's always the potential to have outliers that we need to do it treat it a little bit differently. So if anybody has anything before that application is up and running, we meet on Tuesday and you're free to bring any of those items to us.
Okay. Further questions?
Mr. Warren wanted me to pass along, Sheriff, his appreciation. Your folks that are helping us on 4 have been amazing. We have yesterday, a lady at the window who was having a hard time staying calm, and they were so patient with her, and they stayed there with her and helped her through, because everybody's got a right to access to the courts. And he just wanted to make sure you knew what a great job your folks are doing for us.
Absolutely. My employees appreciate that. Thank you.
These are strange and difficult times, and all of your people are doing a great job. All right, so where are we, Mr. Chair? We need a motion on 57.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And item 57.
58.
58, thank you. Item 58 related.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, item 59, Mr. Matthews. I think it's maybe who is here on this one?
We have Doug Bolton on the WebEx.
Ah, there he is. I see you, Mr. Bolton. So go ahead and tell us what this item's about.
Uh-oh.
Unmute yourself, please.
I don't need a.
Now he's muted.
Okay, hold on.
That's an excellent explanation.
Okay, try again. Now, we're unable to hear. I know we want to get this item done. Is there somebody else who?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you started.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I just learned you cannot use a headset in trying to communicate on WebEx. I apologize for that. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members, this first item, number 59, is a very simple cleanup item. You'll recall the people of Oklahoma approved medical marijuana, and immediately ahead of January 2019, this body adopted Oklahoma County's medical marijuana policy. It was during the 2019 legislative session that the legislature passed what they called the Unity Bill, providing some cleanup. What our objective is today is to modify the Oklahoma County policy's definition of safety-sensitive positions to conform with the definition which the legislature placed in the statutes. It's very minor. There's hardly any difference whatsoever, but we felt it best to have no daylight between the county definition of safety-sensitive positions and that in the statutes. It's proposed that this go into effect July 1st. That's the end of my remarks. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Move approval.
Second. All in favor say aye.
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 And I assume you're here also on item 60, Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, you may recall I last appeared in person before you in January, presenting to you a resolution asking for your will with respect to the opportunity to establish for the first time an Oklahoma County continuing education tuition reimbursement program. This was made available in the 2019 session by the Oklahoma legislature, and it's passing Senate Bill 590. What you did is unanimously approve the adoption. We sent that to the BOCC, who concurred therein. You directed the handbook committee to develop a specific policy and procedure to be placed in the handbook and brought back to you for your consideration and approval. And that's what we placed before you today. We propose to establish a new section 2.19 continuing education tuition reimbursement program. And I'll note we propose an effective date of January 1st, 2020. This is in anticipation of funding being provided for this program in the September supplement. This being a new program, it was not funded in that budget that was just adopted, which was merely a repeat of the current year.
Okay, Doug, I think you mentioned section 2.19 with an effective date of January 1, 2020. I think our agenda says January 1, 2021.
Thank you for clarifying, Colonel. Indeed, I do intend and mean January 1st, 2021, following the funding of the program. Yes, thank you for pointing that out, sir.
Okay. Further questions? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I'll
Move
move it.
approval.
I will second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I do wish to express my appreciation, by the way, to Dan Matthews and Anna Langthorne, who teamed with me in the handbook committee to develop that. Thank you.
Very good. Item 61 is,
Bunch of red lines.
yes.
Yes, probably one of the easiest things we can do. Based on recommendation from the district attorney's office upon review of the handbook, they noted that we have a rather detailed procedure, which really is inappropriate for a personnel policy handbook. The procedure addresses open records procedures. It's duplicative of a resolution that exists that was passed by BOCC years ago. The elimination of this from the handbook will make it easier to read the handbook, help avoid confusion by employees who probably wouldn't follow this, and it will not change anything otherwise. So,
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you, Doug.
thank you.
And item 62.
Item 62 is an item that's been in the works for about 3 years. I'll just reference that the state auditor inspector made a finding approximately 3 years ago indicating that a few departments in Oklahoma County were extending more benefits in the way of holiday benefits, holiday leave time, than the statutes really intended. And after doing the research on it and getting input from the district attorney's office, it was finally determined that indeed we need to be more specific in our handbook. And so the proposed section 3.10, holiday leave time, is designed to replace the existing section, and it's much more clear that every employee will receive the same amount of holiday leave hours, that is 8 hours for each holiday. Current practice is 12 hours or 12 holidays per year. So regardless of the shift you work, and then it provides, in keeping with some of the other changes we've made in the handbook, it provides a series of examples to help communicate, we hope, effectively to employees. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, there's some motions. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you,
Jeff.
Chair. My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wilkerson, back to you on, I think we're now on item 65, which is the service agreement with HealthSmart Benefits, which is $108,000. Any questions?
Any questions?
I believe this is to cover out-of-state claims?
What this is they administer our health plan. So this is for the administration services.
Okay.
And then there's one slight change to this agreement. Currently, our members have access to an out-of-state provider network called PHCS, and we access that through our Healthcare Highways Oklahoma network, provider network, okay? Healthcare Highways has lost access to our out-of-state network. So long story short, HealthSmart still has access to that out-of-state network. So we've added that out-of-state network to the HealthSmart agreement. So our out-of-staters or those on vacation wouldn't lose access to that network. So that's really no big changes. That's the only change to that agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And item 66.
Sure. This is standard renewal with Physicians Mutual. This is for our retirees and their spouses, 65 or older. This is a Medicare supplement plan. No changes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkerson. Okay.
Number 67?
Yes, Mr. Stein.
We want to do this to comply with the Open Records Act. We have a possibility of having more than a quorum of elected officials or their chief deputies at a meeting planned for next Thursday. And we wanted to just post this as a courtesy, so in case we did have those folks, we could have we could bring the meeting to order and then end it. It's just a precautionary device because we're asking all of the different department heads and electeds and their chief deputies to participate in this presentation from one of our vendors, which could be very helpful for the sheriff's department and other departments that may use these types of images.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next item is one I requested. So when we voted at our last meeting, special meeting, with regard to some additional funding for the trust, we got kind of boiled down now as to what the trust needs in terms of startup costs. Again, remember that oftentimes spending money up front will lead to a lower result thereafter, but the additional amount, in addition to the $292,000, if I recall, from last time, is $99,328.50.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
these dollars, though, are dollars that were actually going to be spent next fiscal year, are they not? These dollars will not be spent between now and June 30, will they?
I think some of them may be. I think some of them are for things that they are going to need, card readers and things like that, that they're going to need July 1 when the trust takes over.
And so you anticipate that they're going to be purchased this year, this fiscal year?
My understanding, I mean, nobody from the administrative side of the trust is here, but yes, that is my understanding, that they would need this at this time. There are some other items that they had originally requested that can wait until after the fiscal year.
They'll have to wait because
Sure,
if we're going to incur that expense next fiscal year, it'll have to be funded next fiscal year.
Correct.
Danny, do you have any issue or any comment on this?
I just echo what you just said. Yeah, if there are expenditures that happen during this fiscal year, hopefully this will cover it. The expenditures going forward, we would have to address it in July.
And so if we were to fully fund this $99,000 with the understanding there's probably no way that they're going to be able to use it, but then what will happen is that will become funds that will just lapse. Yeah, that will lapse into the next fiscal year. And
I guess that would be my understanding. If it's not spent this year, that would be the case. So. And if you want to see what the items are, it's on the attachment.
Help me remember, when the trust has requested startup funds, is it typically you put the item on, or because you're a BOCC representative, or is it? I just want to make sure, similar to the CARES items, that when the trust is requesting additional funding, that they're going through the same process every time.
No, I don't know that we had pinned on a process. Okay. I've been doing it just because, obviously, as I'm at the meetings, but I'm certainly open to a different approach on it. But that's why.
With the new fiscal year, you all will get your funding. But that was my question.
Mr. Chairman, I might be mistaken, but with the trust, they're not limited to fiscal year limitations. And I believe once we transfer this money to the trust, it's the trust.
It's theirs.
For however long they want.
The trust is not.
It won't lapse and become seed corn.
Okay, so these fundings. Okay.
Say that again, Christie.
We're not transferring $99,000 between them with this item. All we're doing is moving it from reserve to general government. They will draw down from there once they spend for the reserve. So it will last.
It will last.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the way it is being transferred, funded to which it's being transferred.
Have we done any of their past transfers in this way? In the last couple weeks, we've just given them the funds and it's theirs, correct?
It's all.
Their initial probably the 450 and the 500,000.
Can we get all of that said into the microphone?
Yeah, that's
for the record, please. I'm sorry, Christine.
Yeah.
Don't put in for mileage from your seat up to the microphone.
No, I think we're handling it the right way. When we did the initial 100,000, that came from the sheriff to them.
Right.
Our second amount, I think, was 400,000. It did come out of that we did that out of reserve through general government to them. So those dollars did get, that initial 500,000 did get put in their bank account, and they've been spending it. As of today, they have $171,000 left. The 292 is in process. I assume it has been transferred. You've made the action to transfer it to general government. The part that needs to happen there is they need to, request to suspend it, to get it moved from there. And now all you're doing is, this item, you're just moving 99,000 to general government. Again, what they don't spend out of the 292 and the 99 out of general government will last.
Okay.
But it'll still take some action on their part to, submit then to actually spend the dollars.
Yeah, the process involves us cutting a check out of general government from an invoice from the jail trust. So we're moving the money into general government. Once we get an invoice from them, then we actually cut a check out of general government to cover those expenses.
Say that one more time.
The money is moved into general government.
Right.
And then we actually cut a check to the jail trust from general government.
Okay.
There's no transfer from
General government to the trust.
Correct.
Okay.
But based upon what Christie just said, they still got over, a couple of $100,000 left to spend between now and the end of the year then. Now they won't have to spend it, I know, because it's no year money, but still. We're sure we need the 95,000.
This is 99, yes.
99,000.
Yes.
I hear what you're saying, that based on what Christie is saying, that they still have a good chunk of money through June 30th, or I guess it will lapse over, but I would assume that they have that money, they've already decided how that money is going to be spent.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, okay.
Yeah, it's on the attachment. Okay, I will go ahead and move the item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, citizen participation. Are there any citizens wishing to address the vice board?
Wait,
I'm sorry?
we have 68 and 69.
I'm sorry, I got,
Right,
okay,
and I
got
think
it.
we just
60,
voted on.
Thank you. Okay, so I will go ahead and move 69 as well. All those in favor
Wait,
say aye.
so 69 is transferring from general fund reserve to general government so that the trust can essentially be, why are we not just giving this money to the trust like we always do?
This completes what we just did in item 68. There has to be a resolution that goes along with
Okay,
item 68, correct, Karen?
right, but with the past expenditures or the past money that we've given to the trust, we're just giving it to them and it's theirs to spend. Why are we doing it differently this time?
We transfer to general fund, we have to check.
Okay, and that's,
General government.
okay. And there's no legal issue with that, of doing it that way?
Well, I'm not really following. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
You're still anticipating that when the core money is transferred to the trust, it would still cross the BOCC?
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay. Yeah. I'm good.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, before it goes from any account in the county to the trust, it's got to clear by resolution from the BOCC and we're fine.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second on 69? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Now we'll go to citizen participation. Are there any citizens wishing to address the vice board? Seeing none, are there any board comments?
I have a prepared statement.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Warren wanted me to let you know that today he's not here because he's in an OSU County training class. It is the last class that he needs to graduate. He told me to tell you that he's graduating magna cum laude, carrying a 4.574 grade point, and nobody in the history of the OSU County training program has ever completed it between the first class and the last class any more quickly. That is all.
Very good.
You said he was coming loudly? Yeah, that's very loudly.
He gets the blue ribbon. Okay, very good. Any other board comments? Mr. Sheriff.
I just wanted to let the board know that my office was humbled recently by being recognized by the state auditor for our transparency. That's what the sheriff's office is all about, transparency.
Okay, any other board comments? Any new business? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Yeah. No. No, you like, you think like I did, you want to understand before you.
I'll second. Okay. We are